Alright, so it's been a while since I've done one of these. Long while, big long while. So let's just jump straight into this without any formalities. First thing you'll notice is I'm hiding all these windows. You can do that by pressing F4 on your keyboard. What you'll want to do is you'll want to hold Shift on your keyboard. Boom, 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 boom. You don't even have to click either. If you hold Shift and then just click and drag, you can select multiple things. So, oh, accidentally grabbed that one completely on its own. And then you can press Control C to copy all of them, Control V to paste them all. Boom, there you go. You don't have to select them one by one painstakingly, contrary to popular belief. So now that we have this jumbled one layer mess, we're going to select everything and right click distribute to layers. And we'll need to organize this, so we want this hand to be the very top layer, this one to be the very bottom, the head to be the right under this hand, body, and then the feet. Oh yeah, and when you're doing this stuff, this little magnet down here, when you use the free transform tool, which is Q on your keyboard, you'll want to unselect that because it'll make your animations come out looking really stiff. Booyah. Alright, so actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this guy down here. And actually before we make a clone, I'm gonna make this folder and name that Scuttering. You can do that by clicking this down here, new folder. Click this, hold Shift, click up here, drag under, boom, there you go. Folder, another folder, walking. And then we can just paste our guy again, right click, distribute like we did last time. Click, shift click, drag, boom. And then if you close this, it'll auto select all the symbols for you. Boom. I'll make timestamps. So first we're gonna go with the walking. First things first. You zoom in. Boom. What do you see? It's a body. For me, it's just kind of muscle movement or muscle memory at this point. But the way I would start is like tiny. Oh. Whoops. Tiny frame. Tiny frame. Mind you, we're going up and then down, up and then down, kind of like this. Like waves. So usually I measure it in 2s or 3s. So like 3 tiny frames. And then 2 big ones. 2 middle big ones. And then 2 falling down. Maybe 3. Again, it's not really like set in stone how many you need to use. And now that you want to start off with really tiny frames, but then as you're going, you don't want to use super tiny frames. So just try to measure it by the body, which is what I do. I eyeball it. I'm like, that's about the right distance. And as long as you do that, you can basically just really eyeball it. I mean, there's not much more to say. Also, this right here is I won't change the body's rotation until after it lands and starts to take off again. It just helps give it a little more movement. Ta-da! We fucking did it. It's hard to explain if you're not animating something that has really dynamic foot movement in it, where doing it on one layer is kind of a pain in the ass. But so we'll start with this. Now the way I do it is I'll have this foot arc, and then this one just slides forwards. It doesn't actually go upwards. Oh, another thing I also do is, I'll tell you when we get there, but I try not to move the foot like this one until it's reached back here. And here's another thing is, okay, so we start here, we go up, that foot's at the front, now you see it starts to go down. That's when I would start to move that one to the front, so then we end up in the same pose taking off. So I'll just move him very slightly. once he starts to move upwards again. It's just the same story. So then I'll show you what I do with this foot, and then I'll just speed up me animating the rest of the feet. So literally no movement until boom, right there. Oh shit. Notice I just slide it on along. I'll move it up depending on the body's height because I don't want to end up with a foot like right there. But outside of that, it's just me sliding the foot forwards. Like if we were connecting the body each time, you would just see the foot sliding forwards and not actually doing a full arc. There you go. Woomy. So I'm just going to speed up the rest of this footage involving the feet. So that you guys aren't here for like an hour watching me do this really awkwardly. And there you have it. So the heads, I think I said this weirdly enough when I was still a novice animator, but it still holds true is that you want the head to kind of lag behind everything else. It'll help give it this kind of movement to where the body's helping push everything along. And I think it looks nice. So with the body moving up, we'll do tiny frames. And we'll have it linger a bit. As the body's going down, it's still going up, and so on and so forth. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing this so zoomed out. Normally I zoom in like this close and I animate stuff. Normally I'll animate it like super fast, and then go back and just clean up the frames. And the hands, I think, usually end up being stylized. For me, mine are really like wavy. And usually when the character's walking, you really don't have to move the hands that much. So I really like to make mine go up and down. Which is probably noticeable in my stuff, because I have very wavy looking hands. You notice I really don't rotate a whole lot. It's mostly just knowing how to move the sprites. To make them look less stiff. Which will come in time. It's mostly just learning how to move frames. And then you just kind of repeat that with this hand. Though something I do like to do is, I think I rotate this hand more, because when they're walking, I really like this hand to be tilted for some reason. So that's our boy. There he goes. So I noticed something. You see, part of animating is going back and watching frames to make sure that you clean them up. Here it looks like his fist jitters around because I changed, unintentionally, the gap between that. You'll see it's closer there. So I'll just move that out every couple frames until it's fixed. There we go. And that's basically walking. Ba-boing. So with the walking out of the way, we'll get into this monster. So the first thing you should know about scuttering, the reason it exists is because it would be really boring if all the characters are just standing completely still. And you can tell Matt realized that because he stopped doing it. Depending on the situation, I'll either move this down here, or I'll move it up here. But honestly, I feel like if you keep it in the center, just generally, it's easier that way. So I like to zoom in all the way at 2000% because I use really tiny frames to do this. So let's see, basically the way you'd want it to look is like that, like the body's just very slightly moving around. And you'll see it'll cost us like an assload of frames to do this. So the first one we want to do is back. So I'll go up, move, up, move, up, move. You see I'm using really tiny frames. And I'm just barely moving it on the rotation. You don't always have to rotate it. Like right there, you saw I just threw frames in, I didn't rotate it at all. It's not about continuous rotation, you just kind of use rotation to help with it. And you don't always want to rotate one way. Rotating the opposing direction for a couple frames, and then rotating back the way you were going before can help add more dynamics to it. And really, don't be afraid to use a lot of frames on these because you'll need them. Like, I can almost guarantee this will, if you're doing this properly, it'll take up the majority of your animation time. Another thing is when you're stopping a character, don't be afraid to use the arrow keys. It'll move it in very small increments, especially when you're zoomed into like this level. And just so it's not lagging, I want to see how this looks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And you just come in and do the same thing with the body. Or the head. Whoops. So probably the next biggest thing when it comes to scuttering is the feet. And this is actually probably the easiest part because you don't have to do a whole lot of animating. So I'll start with the front one. And usually when the movement starts, it's basically like reverse walking, where you just move the feet like that, but you'll be doing it one at a time. Like you'll start moving one, and then as soon as this one stops, you start moving the other. And in some scenarios, when it comes to animating, you'll have no choice but to move both of them. So we'll start with this front one. So we know that this one's going to stay stationary because he's moving backwards. So that's going to go back. I usually try to wait till the foot's about like midpoint before I move it at all. Another thing is if you ever mess it up, look at where your body ends right here, because you'll want your character to be stationary. So we want our foot to end right there, which means we can actually go right here and just boom. So then we come in and do the other foot. There you go. It's really not that difficult when you see someone, you know, do it live and kind of explain how it's done, but it can be intimidating at first. Usually when it comes to rotating during scuttering, I'll change the rotation each time the body starts moving again, even if it's just slightly. And really, that's, when it comes to animating madness in general, the biggest thing you don't want to do is rotate too often or too drastically. If you rotate too much, you could get a very wobbly looking mess. And that's kind of like the inverse side of choppy, is wobbly. Wobbly and smooth is just as bad as choppy and robotic. You want to find a good balance between the two, where you're not animating like, you know, robotic and stiff and slow, but you're also not animating too smooth and quote-unquote fluid. But yeah, what I was saying earlier about how this should take up the majority of your animation time, it really should, especially when you're not animating one character for a minor amount of frames. I'm sure if you look at my Paradig 2 part, you'll notice that there's 4 or something characters, and then like 2 more show up that start scuttering, and it was just a huge clusterfuck to animate. So I hope that helps you guys understand scuttering and walking. I hope that gives you guys some more insight on how I do stuff and how to make it look better than what you're currently doing. And I'll be sure to get that Flash file out with all the sprites as soon as possible.